Cool, and here we go. Good morning, everybody. Good. Happy Friday. I hope it has been a productive week, and welcome to our normal How to Take Over the World session. It has been a very busy week, all in all, so I'm just going to give you a quick update on some of the things that have happened this week and what people are working on, and then we are going to hand over to the presenters for today to share what they've learned this week. Just a reminder, the presentation is being recorded, and we will be sharing the playback facility on our YouTube channel if you've missed out on it. Thank you, as always, to the people who regularly log in. It's always nice to go back and look at the stats and see a number of people who go and enjoy the content and go and watch it afterwards. So it's cool to look at a little bit of that long tail effect from a content perspective. Just a quick reminder of our purpose and the things that we get involved in. So we basically position ourselves as a consulting firm assisting entrepreneurs with tackling the twin challenges of access to finance and access to markets. And we get to work on some very exciting projects, primarily those with high social impact and looking to do job creation initiatives. So it has been a very busy week on that front, and I'll share a little bit of that in the next couple of slides. Just a tune to get you going, just because I know this is Paula's favorite tune on whenever she needs a bit of a motivational uplift, is Titanium from David Guetta with Sia. And one of the fun things, I actually didn't know this, and I thought just a fun fact to put with this, David Guetta was the third artist to reach 2 billion streams on Spotify in 2015. I actually didn't even know Spotify was around in 2015, but how about that? 2 billion streams just shows you just how big the world is out there at the moment. So that's just a fun fact. And if you do need a tune to go and switch on, go put the David Guetta Titanium on to get you going this Friday. Just welcome to a new team member. Cameron joined us this week. We've been getting a lot of requests to do impact reporting on some of the projects that we're doing. This will look at everything from community engagement through to job creation and new venture creation. So Cameron will be arriving to put together some of that and be able to do some of the digital reporting that goes with those projects. So welcome, Cameron. One of the success stories this week, you guys have probably seen it. Intercausal's kicked off our new Meet the Management Investor series, which looks at the various venture capital funds that are out there. The first fund we featured was Alison Collier from Endeavour, and already there's been some good interest in that. I think it's always nice to be a first mover, and I think there is a lot of interest in the venture capital space at the moment. So very excited about that. And I think there's some interesting discussions that have already come out. The next one will be, I think in 2 weeks' time, we'll be putting up the details of that. So keep an eye on our social media, but we're very excited about this as a project. Anaya is still working on this DTIC grants and incentives initiative. So we're working closely with the team from Uzenzele to put together a report or four-part guide looking at the various incentives out of the DTIC. So if you know anybody who runs a manufacturing business or an industrial business and is looking to raise capital, they're welcome to reach out to Anaya on ane@decusatio.co.za. Otherwise, have a look at our social media, share it out there. It's quite, there are a lot of incentives that people don't know about. So take a look at that, and let's see what we can do from assisting you with accessing some of those grants and incentives. And this was probably our success story for the week. After about nearly 8 months of work on this, the Yum Pizza Hut South Africa project went live. For any of those who have been involved in the behind the scenes work, there's been a lot of budgets, a lot of agreements, a lot of paperwork. It's nice to actually put some names and faces to some of the youth. This took place at the Ifundonati Center at Wits. And this is the E-Zone, where the youth are basically learning to provide skills that will be able to equip both lecturers and students access the digital or fourth industrial revolution, if you like. So there's Paula on the right-hand side with a number of the youth from Youth Health Africa who are going to be working in the E-Zone and working with the various lecturers that are there. Just some of the things we're watching this week for anybody who... Just some of the things we're watching this week. So anybody who watched the SONA State of the Nation address last night, the president delivered a more business-friendly address, which was quite good. There were a number of things around cutting some of the red tape, tackling some of the corruption and some of the other elements, including some competition for Eskom. I think a lot of people are quite cynical about anything that comes out of a politician's mouth at the moment, but what is encouraging is that a lot of the parties actually rallied behind the speech and said, actually, they were saying the right things. Second thing we've seen this week, a lot of people talking about Airbnb as an investment idea. I think if you look at our social media this morning, people are saying it's one of those businesses which could see its growth and share price increase by as much as 10 times over the next 10 years. So if any of you are interested in the Airbnb model, have a look at it. It's you can buy it via the Easy Equities platform. And it's one of those things that if you are looking at for an investment idea, it is something worth having a look at. On the not so good news, Shell and BP are two of the big multinational oil refinery businesses. They're looking to exit and sell their stake in Sapref. I think there's a lot of tension between multinationals and government, particularly around this refinery. And we'll want to see whether this has any impact on things like power supply and foreign investment coming into South Africa. One of the big stats we kind of looked at this week, there's between $80 and $100 billion trade finance gap. So trade finance effectively looks at where a business will be able to win a contract, but is unable to actually fulfill it because they don't have the financing capability to do it. I mean, it's one of the areas that we're starting to put a lot of energy into looking for solutions. And we've got a couple of partners doing some innovative things in that space. But $80 to $100 billion is a lot of money and a big gap that needs to have a look at. Needs to be addressed. In terms of executive remuneration, I read a fun article this week, shareholderism versus stakeholderism. So a lot of the concerns about how people get paid, whether it's in South Africa or US and other emerging markets, there's always a concern that the guys at the top earn a lot of money and the people at the bottom do all the work. And this kind of executive pay gap has been a very topical issue for a long time. They're now talking about, what is that in terms of remuneration, linking a lot of that to ESG goals, which are environmental, social, and governance goals. And that's quite an interesting topic. I mean, stakeholderism is quite an interesting term, and I haven't seen it before, and I thought that was something quite interesting to have a look at. Lastly, the SA Chamber of Commerce and Industry Business Confidence Index has risen to a 3-month high. It does feel like the economy is switching back on, and it does feel like we have there's some confidence returning to the economy, and this is probably bodes well for both us plus our other stakeholders and clients. So very excited about that. A few things that we're watching at the moment. I'm just going to stop for a moment and throw it out to the team to see if there's anything else on the radar that they're watching. Anybody got any thoughts or comments? Clearly, it's an early start for a Friday, so we've covered everything comprehensively. So with that, I'm going to hand over to, I'm just having a look here to see who's up first. Just seeing here, Emma, it looks like you're going to be up first to present. Are you good to go from your side?
Yes, I am.
Cool, I'll stop sharing. You can share your preso.
Awesome. We all sorted?
Yeah, you're good.
Perfect. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. So today I'm just going to be speaking on the basics in marketing that you just need to know for 2020, going into the year 2022 from 2021. So the tips and tricks to get ahead of the game for this year. So step 1 is to update your website ASAP. I know we are already in the 2nd month of this year, but it's just a reminder to update your website for this year if you haven't done so yet. Odds are you have some details you need to update, all the content to refresh, or something new to add to your site to liven it up. Users typically spend as little as 45 seconds on your site, so you don't want to lose visitors because your site is outdated or not fresh. So tip 2 is create content to answer the questions your users have. The best and most engaging content always answers users' questions. You want this content to either inform or add value to the user's experience and ultimately solve their problems. Tip 3, build your brand strategically. In today's society where people are overly stimulated and have an attention span of about 7 seconds, first impressions matter a lot. For that reason, it's important to have a rock star brand established. This goes back to just building out brand basics and a brand Bible. Tip 4, know your customers and then in turn they know you. Not only is it important to make a great first impression, but it's also important that you maintain the relationships you do have with current customers. It's proven that it's cheaper to maintain a relationship with a current customer than it is to market to a new potential customer. To know your customer and keep that connection, it's important that your brand is built on authenticity. By being true to the core values, you attract like-minded customers with whom you are able to build a trusted bond with. Tip 5, follow statements of purpose with action. Essentially, this is all about walk the walk if you talk the talk. We are living in a woke society where it's essential you follow through with continued action if you do release a statement. So some tricks that you can use to elevate your business on socials. 1, go casual with social videos. The trend towards social videos will undoubtedly continue in 2022. Video content helps an audience overcome the feeling of disconnectedness that we've all suffered due to the pandemic and lockdowns. The videos that now go viral are not the high quality production type videos, but more so relatable, down to earth, feel good videos. This means that brands can let down their hair. You can move away from always having to look professional and embrace trends or hashtag challenges instead. Hopefully, more businesses will catch on to the positive brand vibes that are generated through a more laid back social media approach. 2, go live. Like with what exactly we're doing here. Going live leverages the fact that people working from home are spending more time on social media. It's an inexpensive option to stay connected with consumers and foster more meaningful relationships. And finally, 3, get into augmented reality. As Intercorsa recently discussed, the metaverse, as well as other versions of augmented reality, are gaining popularity and providing more opportunities as Web 3.0, the Web 3.0 wave happens. The pandemic encourages marketers to think uniquely for ways to connect with consumers who stay at home. The solution is AR marketing, which helps customers get a feel of owning the product without even seeing it personally. Surprisingly, this is relatively more budget friendly than your traditional marketing channels. You now have some tips and tricks that you can apply for this year. Will you be able to try them all? Maybe not. For some, you'll pick a few and give them a shot. For others, it is more worthwhile to pick just one and really focus on that. It all depends on your industry, your audience, and your business goals specifically. So I hope that is helpful, and thank you so very much.
Thanks, Em. I think it's very, I think there are a couple of key takeaways there. I mean, I think the call to action, I mean, it's actually a discussion we've been having this week around, repurposing our website and looking at things that we wanted to look at, as your business grows and evolves, it needs to be updated. There needs to be content that comes through. But I think also some of the things that, the brand Bible, brand guide stuff is it's one of the things I didn't pay a lot of attention to initially when we were looking at it, but to have a standardized brand and a look and feel does make it a far more credible, and it tells people how to use your brand. And I think that one of the things that you find that as your business matures, you want your brand to have brand integrity that goes with it, so that when people use your branding, whether it's suppliers, whether it's customers, whether it is staff, it all has a very consistent look and feel. So I think that's a very fair comment. Anybody else got any comments in terms of this? I see Ed's got a thought here about, I've never heard of AR marketing. I mean, I think that I think it's quite a big trend. And if you Google it, you can see quite a few different business opportunities and models that are coming through there and how people can integrate it into their business. And I think also the going live and interaction. I mean, we just saw it this week, the difference where you can actually be doing an event and you can get real-time interaction with clients. There's some very cool opportunities there, so quite excited about that. Anybody else got thoughts or comments? Nicely done, Em. I think you've managed to wow them into silence. I think it's a very slow Friday this morning. Is Jonathan on or not? I can see multiple Emmas, but I'm not sure if Jonathan's on.
I think one of them are Jonathan, Mark.
Just give him a moment to respond. While we're doing that, I think there is one or two things, and I'm going to rope in KG here, or Edward and KG very quickly. Just reminded, as small businesses, there are a couple of deadlines that are coming up, and maybe KG, what are the kind of things, the dates and deadlines that people should be aware of if they're running small businesses in terms of things that are due in terms of annual returns and that kind of thing?
The days that people should be aware of is, like, you see when you register for a company and obviously you have a financial year end. So the day that you should be aware of when submitting your annual returns is the day that your business was registered. Let's say you registered your company in February, let's say today. So you know that your annual return will be due 2023 and end of February. So that's the day that you should be aware of.
And UIF and SDL, this is normally 7th of the month, eh?
Yeah, UIF and SDL 7th of every month.
Cool. So if you are running a small business and you're out there and you are struggling with things like annual returns, I can tell you, speaking from personal experience, as a business owner, it's very difficult to stay on top of any of stuff like this. So make an effort to, if you are struggling with it, the guys from SME.tax are the people to talk to, and they are able to get your things in order. So by all means, if you need to reach out to anybody, you can visit them via their website. Otherwise, drop us a line and we'll connect you up and set up a meeting with it. Jonathan, are you now connected?
Yeah, Dad.
Okay.
The audio on my computer is not working very well, so I'll be using my phone, but I'll be sharing with my screen.
Awesome. So for those who don't know, we give everybody a chance to present irrespective of age and experience. We do think it is an important part of learning how to present in a professional environment. So Jonathan, you can take it away.
Okay. Today I'll be talking about the brain activity of an adolescent during a meltdown, which is basically our toddlers. This inspired me because I saw a post on Instagram which very intrigued me, about a guy that said that having a child that's having a meltdown, you don't tell them to go sit in a corner. You have to comfort them and make them feel like you're actually there. So I wanted to do a little more research on it. And I found out that, yes, children do have meltdowns, but there's a reason behind it. Firstly, their brains are still developing. So there will be some times where they will have their big emotions, and it's because they can only express one emotion at a time. And this is very hard for them to regulate which emotion is coming through, whether it be anger, sadness, or scared. And the guy says to us that we should comfort the kids and make sure that they are in a safe space for the kids to know that they aren't alone during this time. Some people call it the terrible twos because it happens between the ages of 2 and 3, and we can't really know what is happening inside their brain just yet. So when parents have a kid having a meltdown, they feel like they are a bad parent and they feel like they're not doing well as a good parent. So they have all these punishments and all these timeouts. But we we know that it is a good idea to have the kid have discipline and freedom. So sometimes with the meltdowns, you want to comfort the kid, letting the kid know that you are there for them and letting them know that you're not just telling them to go sit in a corner and cry it out. They know that you are there to help them develop and grow. And knowing that the kids will most likely get out of the temper tantrum or the meltdown a little bit quicker than just telling them to go to their room. This is just between the ages of 2 and 3, as I mentioned. So if your kid's a little bit older or younger, then there must be other differences that you're telling them to go to their room. But yeah, thank you guys. That is the presentation. I know it's a little short, but it's all the information I could have gotten on it.
Thanks, Jonathan. Much appreciated. Yeah, I mean, I think there
Thank you,
are.
Jonathan.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a skill to be able to learn to present, and I think it's one of the things that you work through. It does speak to the importance of preparation for presentations, making sure that you've got research, making sure you understand your topic correctly, and preparing. And I think that as you go into the world of work, I think it will be an important part of your professional development. Anybody else got any thoughts? Edward's got a question from his side.
Not really much a question, just a add-on. Just speaking to that, I think from a young age like that, that's where children or people or young people learn conflict resolution, and that's what they carry on into primary school and high school and into the working world. If they never get a chance to express what they think and why they're upset and tend to just like never get heard, that they'll carry that into their adult life of never feeling heard when they are in a fight with their friend, spouse, or workplace situation. So it definitely adds on to how a child should be raised and giving them opportunity to express why they're upset and maybe have a resolution like a conversation with them.
Yeah, definitely.
Go ahead.
I know that children start developing their attachment styles from the age of 11 months to 2 years. So it's very important that they feel heard to have a healthy attachment style.
Yeah, and I think so maybe like slightly different slant as somebody who's managed people. I think we have to just build on what Edward was saying there. I think one of the problems we have is that kids haven't learned a lot of conflict resolution. So that, in a lot of ways they are told that they everything that they can do no wrong, and it ends up creating an environment when they move into the working world where they struggle with criticism and feedback. So it's an interesting dynamic that plays out, particularly when you've got a young workforce and a young team. So yeah, some things to consider. Anybody else got anything else before we wrap up for today? Yeah, I mean, I think I'll probably, if there's nothing else that's coming through, I mean, I'd just maybe like to make a comment. I mean, we talked about increased business confidence, and the world is definitely switching back on. I think for the last 2 years, it has been a case of just really struggling and trying to make ends meet. And if you are a small business owner out there, or you are kind of reimagining your professional career, suddenly there's a bit of light at the end of the tunnel. We were talking about it earlier in the week about a lot of the people who have studied for the last 2 years and all their work has been done remotely. They haven't had the chance to meet face to face. They've only known a professional world where things haven't gone well. And suddenly now we're seeing an economy switching on. So I think if I can leave you with one thought for today, it would be that there is a world of opportunity out there, and if we look at it and we look at the opportunities and the size of the markets, we can all get, as the team says, we can all get rich and famous. So definitely things to think about, and I hope that you leave this meeting on a Friday with a bit of enthusiasm and a bit of motivation and a bit of impetus that we will do things, and we will do good things over the next couple of months. So thank you everybody to making yourselves available. We will chat during the course of today, but thanks for your time, guys.